This painting tells the story of my flock. But more than that, it tells the story of how one unexpected gift changed the course of my life. When I first began planning this piece, I wasn't simply trying to paint lovebirds. I wanted to capture a journey, one that began with a single bird and unfolded into something far greater than I could have imagined. As I worked on this pastel painting, I found myself reflecting not only on where my flock came from, but on the unexpected ways healing, purpose, and joy can return to us when we least expect them. I never went looking for birds. In fact, before meeting my first lovebird, I didn't know anyone who kept parrots, and I certainly wasn't planning on becoming a bird person. Around 10 months after losing my sister, I met a new friend named Elizabeth. She had recently adopted a baby lovebird named Ting, but was facing a challenge. Her work required frequent travel, and she needed someone to care for him while she was away. So I offered to help. What began as a simple week of bird sitting quickly became something much more. To my surprise, I found myself completely fascinated by this tiny bird. I started researching everything I could about lovebirds, their care, their diet, their behavior, and their needs. The more I learned, the more I enjoyed caring for him. Eventually, Elizabeth realized that her schedule made it difficult to give Ting the life she wanted for him, and she asked if I would adopt him permanently. My answer was an emphatic and immediate yes. Looking back, I didn't realize how much I needed him. The grief of losing my sister was still very real, but caring for Ting, whom I affectionately called Baby Ting, brought a renewed sense of purpose and joy into my daily life. It didn't erase the pain, but it reminded me that there was still life to be lived, still things to learn, others to love, and still reasons to hope. So I didn't go looking for a bird, but somehow the bird found me. And with him began a lifelong love of birds that would eventually grow into an entire flock. Years later, as the flock continued to grow, I found myself reflecting on how it all began. Again and again, my thoughts returned to that first act of generosity, a friend entrusting me with a single lovebird. Eventually, an image began forming in my mind. I wanted to create a painting that told the story of the flock, but also the story behind the flock. In the composition, Baby Ting appears prominently in the foreground, receiving the viewer's attention first. Behind him are the birds who came later, each one representing another chapter in the story. But there was an artistic challenge. Pastels require the background to be developed first. That meant I couldn't begin with Baby Ting. I had to start with my most recent birds instead. As I worked, I realized something unexpected. The painting itself was unfolding backward through time. The birds I care for today were painted first. The birds from earlier years came later. And Baby Ting, the bird who started everything, would be painted last. The medium itself was guiding the story. While the painting tells the story of the past moving toward the present, the process of creating it moved from the present back into the past. In a sense, every layer brought me one step closer to the beginning. And so in the process, I found that creating this piece was also a form of healing, a kind of consolidation or solidification of all that had occurred, leaving me with a deep sense of gratitude. Even when I was caring for only Baby Ting and one or two other birds, I somehow sensed the story wasn't finished. What's funny is that I never went looking for birds. I wasn't browsing breeders or planning to build a flock. Again and again, birds simply appeared in my path. Some needed new homes, some had been abandoned, some had come from difficult situations. Others had nowhere else to go. One by one, they arrived. And each time I thought the flock might be complete, another chapter would begin. Over the years, what started with a single lovebird slowly became a vibrant little community of birds, each with their own personality, preferences, friendships, and stories. Not every chapter was easy. There were losses, there were mistakes, there were moments when my heart was broken. But there was also tremendous joy. With every bird came new lessons about patience, responsibility, trust, and care. I found myself learning far more than how to feed birds or clean cages. I was learning how to become a better caretaker, how to pay attention, how to advocate for creatures that depend entirely on us, how to create an environment where they could thrive. Looking back now, I realize I wasn't collecting birds. I was being entrusted with them. And somewhere along the way, this little flock became part of my purpose. As the painting developed, another theme began weaving itself through the composition. I call it the ripple in time motif. Throughout much of my artwork, you'll find recurring elements: white doves, golden folds, and star-filled nebulae. Each represents something I find myself continually reflecting on: the connection between the natural world and the spiritual world, the temporary and the eternal, the seen and the unseen. Birds have always carried deep symbolism for me. They speak of freedom, hope, trust, and a life lived without fear. The white doves represent purity, peace, and the freedom that comes from knowing we are deeply loved. The nebulae speak of eternity, of realities beyond what we can currently see with our natural eyes. And the golden folds represent the veil between the two worlds, worlds that are far more connected than we may realize. It's the mysterious boundary between what is visible and what is eternal. As I paint these elements, I'm not simply decorating a composition. I'm exploring ideas. I'm asking questions. I'm reflecting on truths that continue to shape my life. The birds themselves have become part of that reflection. Having experienced loss, both of people that I love and of birds that I love, I've spent a great deal of time pondering eternity. I've come to believe that the Creator who cares for every sparrow also cares deeply for every creature He has made. The redemption He's made available provides a profound sense of hope for the future. And that hope changes the way I grieve, and it changes the way I paint. The ripple in time motif is my attempt to give visual form to these reflections. So what began as one small lovebird eventually became a flock. Yet the gift wasn't only the birds themselves, it was what their presence awakened in me. When Baby Ting first entered my life, I was carrying a tremendous amount of grief. I knew I would see my sister again one day, and that hope sustained me. But even so, loss leaves its mark, and the pain of separation still must be dealt with. What I didn't realize was how much joy had faded from my daily life with the passing of my sister. But caring for birds began changing that. Little by little, purpose returned, wonder returned, curiosity returned, and gratitude returned. And eventually, even creativity returned as well. In many ways, the birds helped lead me back to creating art. The stories they inspired have become paintings. The lessons they taught have become reflections. And the everyday moments we share have become reminders of God's faithfulness and provision. Looking back now, I can see that none of it was accidental. Again and again, what I needed arrived at exactly the right time. Not always in the way I expected, but often through a feathered little messenger that found his way into my care. The flock taught me that heart healing is rarely instant. It unfolds one day at a time, one act of care at a time, one gift at a time, and often one bird at a time. Sometimes we don't recognize the significance of a gift until years later. What first appeared to be a simple act of kindness from a friend became the beginning of a journey that changed my life. This flock brought joy back into places that had grown dim. It reminded me of responsibility, gratitude, patience, and hope. It led me back to creativity. It deepened my reflections on eternity. And it reminded me that God often provides exactly what we need long before we even realize we need it. This painting is my way of remembering. It's a prayer of a grateful heart.